A very warm welcome to all of you to yet another session of Zomeo Classroom. Today, we are going to see how a case of ganglion wrist was solved using Homeopathy Zomeo. Let us start. Before we start with the actual case history, let me give you a slight background as to what a ganglion cyst actually is. A ganglion cyst is a fluid-filled sac that is usually seen above a tendon or a joint. It is usually firm in consistency because it is filled by a jelly-like mucinous fluid. And this is what distinguishes a ganglion cyst from a lipoma, which is comparatively softer in nature. In mainstream medicine or in modern medicine, the treatment for ganglion involves no medicine. If there is no pain, usually ganglions are painless. However, if they press on a nerve, they can be quite painful. Depending on whether there is pain or not, the treatment protocol is decided in mainstream medicine. Usually, if the ganglion cyst is painless, the doctor tells you to wait and watch, reassuring you that a ganglion cyst is not cancerous. It is a benign tumor. But if there is pain, then the doctor usually suggests aspiration through needle. The catch here is that even after a needle aspiration, there is a chance of recurrence in the ganglion that is as high as 50%. Comparatively, in homeopathic medicine, we have very good treatment for ganglion. Comparatively, in homeopathic medicine, there is very good treatment for ganglion cysts and there is no fear of recurrence at all. So let us start with this case of ganglion cyst and see how we resolved it with homeopathy. This is the case of a 25-year-old married woman. She has a ganglion on the left wrist since 2 years. The size was gradually increasing since 5 months. Initially, this ganglion was painless. However, when the size started increasing, she started experiencing a mild pain, which is what brought her to us. She is now unable to wear a watch or bangles on that wrist because of the ganglion and a mild pain on touch. Now, when there is a mild pain, it is usually a pain caused by the pressure of the ganglion on the surrounding tissues. Nerve involvement seems unlikely as of now because nerve pain is very severe. This is how we can clinically distinguish between whether a ganglion is impinging on a crucial part of the body like a nerve or not. She was advised against surgery because the ganglion could recur. Apart from this, there are no complaints. We took her menstrual history. Menses are regular, cyclical, with moderate flow. However, what we gauged was that she got her menses too late in life. So her menses had been delayed. No discomfort or pain around menses. Leukorrhea moderate, white discharge 1 to 2 days prior to periods, which is normal. Now when we come to her life situation, she comes from a large family of 4 sisters and a brother. She was the 3rd child. She had a happy childhood. Average in studies, has completed bachelor's in arts, married 1 year back and is a homemaker. She doesn't like doing any work, whether it is housework or anything else. She is slow in her work because she is disinterested and dislikes it. We found something characteristic in her dreams. She sees many dreams when she is sleeping, and they are usually bad, fearful, frightful, of her cousins or her aunt dying, of dead bodies. Now, another very peculiar symptom we found was after she had been reassured time and again that her ganglion was benign and it was not dangerous, she still feared that she would die because she felt that it was a cancer, and she had been repeatedly reassured by the orthopedic doctor, by a surgeon, by us as well, that this tumor is not cancerous. When we probed about her relationship with her husband, she said, good, but he gets a little irritated when I skip chores. But we don't fight. So we asked her, what if he expresses his irritation to you? I do the work, but only in a mechanical way. So she does not rebel. She does what she is told after she sees that the opposite person is getting irritated, but she does not do it wholeheartedly. There is a marked craving for eggs and salty food, thirst for large quantity of water at a time. Thermally, she feels very cold in winters and takes a light covering in the summer, bathes with hot water throughout the year. There is giddiness and headache from exposure to sun. So she veers towards chilliness. Okay, now when we come to the totality of this case, I hope that you have been taking down notes on what you consider are the most characteristic symptoms of the case. Let me do a quick recap. She has a ganglion on her left wrist. Let's go back. Ganglion on her left wrist. The size was gradually increasing. There is mild pain. She is someone who has a delayed menarche at the age of 18 years. She is also somebody who gets very bad dreams every night, especially of death of her cousins or aunts. She is also very averse to working. So you could say that she is indolent. She has a marked fear of dying because she thinks that her ganglion is a cancer. And there is a marked craving for eggs and salt. Personal history. She had typhoid when she was in the 6th standard. Family history. Father died in his sleep. He was a diabetic. Mother has no major illness. On examination, we saw that the ganglion was on the back of the left wrist. Blood pressure was normal. Constitutionally, she was overweight with a protruding belly. So, can you form a picture in your mind, friends, about how this woman is? An overweight, protruding belly woman who is slow, who has aversion to work, on the lazier side, a chilly patient, So I'm hoping that a picture is forming in your head. Now let's have a look at the totality that we considered while solving this case. Let us compare with the totality that you may have made for the patient, and we will see what you may have missed out or taken additionally. So, the very first symptom we took was fear. She is a very fearful person, if you see, because there is a conscious fear of death, and subconsciously her fear is expressed in her dreams as well. So fear is pervading through her constitution. There is fear of death. There are frightening dreams. Dreams that her cousins or aunts are dying. Now these are very, very important. Why have we considered dreams in her totality? Is because dreams operate on a subconscious level, and therefore they bring out the true emotions or the true feelings that are there in a person. Consciously, we may show or manifest one thing, but subconsciously it may be the exact opposite, and that is the true core of a person, which is why we have considered dreams as well in her totality. The next symptom that we considered was her marked aversion to doing any work. Later, we have taken the excess desire to eat eggs, a desire for salty food, and we have also taken her peculiar reaction to a natural element, which is an exposure to sun causes headache and giddiness, which means that her sensitivity is expressed, or her sensitivity towards the sun is expressed only in this region of her body. And lastly, we have considered ganglion on her wrist because we need to consider this long-standing pathology in her totality as well. We need a remedy that will cover everything. So this was the totality we considered, friends. Now let's have a look at how we converted these symptoms into rubrics. So here is the rubric conversion. Fear of death has been directly converted into fear, death of. Frightening dreams have been taken as dreams, frightful, nightmare. Dreams that her cousins or aunts were dying. We interpreted it as dreams, death of relatives. Aversion to any work. Now we searched for this as aversion to work. What we got was indolence aversion to work, which we have considered. The excess desire for eggs is food and drinks, eggs desires. Desire for salty food goes as food and drinks, salt or salty food desires. Exposure to sun causes headache and giddiness. Now, because we saw that the sensitivity towards sun is only at the level of the head, we particularly looked for this rubric in the head chapter. We could have taken sun aggravation from generalities, but because we found this rubric and we know that the sensitivity is expressed only at the level of the head, that is the reason why we have taken the rubric head internal sun aggravation. So this covers the pain and also covers the giddiness. And lastly, we took ganglion on the wrist, which is obviously a symptom in the extremities. So extremities, ganglion, wrists. Very straightforward. So let's go about recording this case in Homepad Zomeo. Now on the screen, if you see, we see that the repertory is already open. What we are looking for are the ways in which we can record the rubrics that are there in the totality of symptoms. I will be showing you how the rubrics can be recorded using different ways in Zomeo. Let us look for the first one. The symptom that we want to search for is fear of death. Now, the quickest and the shortcut way to do this is using quick repertorization. Using the quick repertorization, you can just type in the keywords and record the rubric simultaneously and see it in the repertorization sheet. Let's start. To access and use the quick repertorization feature, you click on the first icon in the black vertical taskbar. This is the icon for the repertorization sheet. As of now, the sheet is blank or empty since we have not recorded any rubric. Let's record the first one. The first rubric is fear of death. So I start typing in this search bar the keywords fear space death and I click enter. What happens is that the most relevant rubric that the software found for the keywords that I typed has been already recorded. It has been recorded from the complete repertory. So now we skip the step in between where we have to choose the rubric to record. It already gets recorded. But if I still want to see which are the other rubrics that are linked to the keywords that I have typed, all I need to do is right click on the recorded rubric and click on the option alternate symptoms. Once I click on this option, what I see in the pop-up window are the other relevant rubrics that have been linked to the keywords fear, death. Now, if I want, I can record any other rubric from this list. I can also replace the rubric that has been recorded with another rubric of my choice. As of now, I will not be doing anything of that sort because the rubric that has been recorded is as per my preference since it contains and covers the maximum number of remedies. So I close the window. Now let us move on to record the next rubric and we will be recording this using quick rep again. The rubric is dreams frightful. So I type in here dreams space frightful. I click on enter and again the most relevant rubric gets recorded from the complete repertory. The next rubric that I will record is dreams that relatives have died. So dreams, death, relatives. So now I put in death and relatives. And now this rubric is also recorded. If you can see, this rubric has a comparatively lesser number of remedies. This is a good sign for us because it can help us later in differentiating between the remedies that we would like to finally give to the patient. The last rubric that I would like to record using quick repertorization is the aversion to work. So I type aversion space work. And now again, the rubric has been recorded from the complete repertory as indolence aversion to work. So we have recorded the first 4 rubrics of our case. If we click on symptoms covered, we see that there are many remedies in this list which are covering all the 4 rubrics that we have recorded. However, we still have 4 more rubrics to go, and finally I am sure that we will arrive at the correct remedy. The next 2 rubrics are for desires in food, and these I will be recording using another feature in Zomeo called the Quick Symptom Record. The Quick Symptom Record is a feature that I can access from the repertory module by clicking on this option, or I just have to press the keys Command K from my keyboard and the Quick Symptom Record feature opens. Basically from here, I can record the rubrics in the patient's own language, which means I search as a symptom and what I finally record is the rubric. This feature is very useful for those homeopaths who are just starting out and have a little or face a little difficulty in converting the symptoms into the rubric. So here I will be showing you 2 rubrics that we can record using Quick Symptom Record. The first is the desire for eggs. So all I need to do is in the search bar type eggs. I click on enter and I get these references. I get references for aggravation from eggs, aversion to eggs, and a desire for eggs. What I am looking for is desire for eggs. So I click on desire for eggs and I see all the relevant rubrics against that symptom. I select the first one from the complete repertory. Click on it and it's recorded. The next rubric I will record is desire for salt or salty food. So again, I type salt. Click enter and the options I see are aggravation from salt or salty food, aversion as well as desire. That's what I am looking for. The desire for salted food. Against this again, I have 11 rubrics, out of which I will be selecting and recording the first one, which is the rubric from the complete repertory. Clicked and recorded. We still have 2 more rubrics to go, and these I will be showing you how to record the classic way from the book or the repertory. These 2 are rubrics belonging to different chapters. One belongs to the head chapter while the other to the extremities. Let me show you how we can record both. I go to the repertory list from the repertory module, or I just press Command O from the keyboard. Once this is done, the screen that opens by default is the main chapter of the complete repertory. But I would like to record the rubric from the head chapter. So for that, I select head, the chapter opens, and now I would like to record aggravation from sun. For this, I just start typing sun space aggravation. And now I have 21 references for it, for which the first one is what is relevant to my case, head internal sun aggravation. I just check the box and the rubric has now been recorded. But if I would like to see the remedies under that rubric, I click on the rubric itself and now I jump to the actual rubric or sub-rubric that is there incomplete. The next rubric I want to record is of ganglion on the wrists, and for that I have to go in the extremities chapter. Now I can scroll down to the extremities chapter, or I just type in EXTRE in the search bar, and this gives me the results of all the chapters of extremities in different repertories. I click on the reference of complete repertory and now I just type ganglion. I need to be more specific. I want ganglion in the wrist, so I type ganglion wrist. And these are the two references I get, ganglion wrists and ganglion wrists back. Now in ganglion wrists, I can see that there are 18 remedies. In our case, the ganglion was specifically on the back of the wrist, and for that we have only 2 remedies, which is why as of now I am choosing to take the higher sub-rubric, which is ganglion wrists. I check the box and the rubric is recorded. Now that all my rubrics have been recorded, I will now go back to my repertorization sheet and see what are the results we get. I click on the icon for the repertorization sheet and now I see that the remedy that comes first in my list as per gradation is calcarea carb. If you remember about the patient, constitutionally she was overweight with a protruding belly, and she was also slow and sluggish with a level of indolence, which does point out to calcarea. But is she calcarea carb? If you can see right now, it is not covering a very important rubric, which is dreams of the death of relatives. So let us rearrange this list. Let us look at the list from the point of view of the covered symptoms. Once we click on symptoms covered, we will be able to see which is or which are the remedies that cover the maximum symptoms in this list. So interesting, when I click on symptoms covered, the list rearranges to show me that calcarea floor is the remedy that is covering all the recorded rubrics, followed by calcarea. Now again, calcarea floor belongs to the calcarea group of remedies. So I think we are on the right track. If you remember, we had 2 more symptoms in mind, and these can help us to decide whether calcarea floor is the remedy for the patient. The first was that the ganglion was on the back of the wrist, if we get very specific about the location. And the second was, if you remember, the patient saying that she has a fear that the swelling is a cancer. So there is a fear of cancer. Let us see if calcarea figures in that symptom. So let's go to the rubric fear of cancer. To do that, let's do it in the simplest way possible, the command S feature, which is repertory search. This opens a small pop-up where I just type in what I am looking for. So fear cancer. Once I press enter, it is going to show me the results from all the repertories for fear of cancer. So now I have 11 references for fear of cancer. Let me look at the first one from complete. To see the remedies that are there under this rubric, just click on the rubric. And now if you see, both calcarea as well as calcarea floor figure in fear of cancer. So calcarea floor is there in fear of cancer. The next symptom that we are looking for is where the ganglion is there at the back of the wrist. And if you remember, when we had searched for ganglion wrist, we had actually found ganglion wrist back off as well. Let us refer to that symptom again. Command S. We look for something more specific now. Ganglion, wrist, back. Only two references. One is from Boric while the second is from complete. And the two remedies from complete chapter feature basilinum and calcarea floor. So again calcarea floor has come back to us, which means that calcarea floor is the right remedy for our patient. Still, if we would like to confirm, you can confirm from a Materia Medica reference book by just right clicking on calcarea floor, clicking on reference book, and let us see which reference book we would like to refer to. Let's go to Materia Medica by Boric for calcarea floor, and let's see what is written in extremities. Here, ganglia or encysted tumors at the back of the wrist. Very specific and very to the point. So again, calcarea floor we know now has been confirmed. All the pieces of the puzzle have fit in. If you remember, I had spoken about the calcarea group of remedies, and even in this repertorization sheet, we see that the first two remedies that come up are calcarea floor and calcarea carb, which means that there is something common between these two remedies, and that is because of the element of calcarea. We also have a very interesting feature called group symptoms, in which you will be able to see what are the symptoms of certain groups of remedies, and this will help you identify a group in any patient that you see. After that, it becomes a matter of differentiating between which other element is going to be part of that group for your patient. To access the group symptoms or to read about group symptoms, you will find them in the utility section here, where you will click on the last option of group symptoms. And now on the left hand side, we have information of 20 groups. Let's see what is there in calcarea. So the first thing that you see are the remedies that belong to the calcarea group, whereas following that we have all the characteristics of the group. If you see the first line, all calcareas are chili except calcarea iode and calcarea sulf. Our patient is a chili patient. Constitution, fat, flabby and obese. Again, an overweight tendency in our patient is seen. And you also see something very interesting here. Slowness, sluggishness, torpidity. In adults, late menarche. Do you remember that in our patient also, her first menses came at 18 years of age. So menarche was delayed or late. This is how you can decide what group of remedies your patient belongs to. On the 3rd of December 2002, she was given calcarea floor 30 one powder per week for 2 weeks. Let us see what happened. She came back on the 19th stating that there is no change in the size of the ganglion. She had felt pain in the first 2 days after taking the powder. No change in dreams after taking the first powder, but after taking the second one in the second week, the frequency went from every night to 4 nights in a week. So you could say that the frequency became every alternating day. That's a good sign. This time, only 1 dose of calcarea floor was given. In her next follow-up, the dreams have reduced. Now she has a frightful dream about twice in a week. Her anxiety about the ganglion has started reducing and she feels calmer, which is a very, very good sign. The size, however, was marginally less. After that, we did not repeat calcarea floor because we saw that she had started improving on all levels. In the next follow-up, the size of the ganglion kept reducing. Sleep is now good and undisturbed, which is a very good sign. Again, we continued with SL. And on the 7th of April, she reported saying and showing that the ganglion had almost disappeared. No dose of calcarea floor was repeated after that. So what do we take away from this case? What is the learning of this case? Considerations of pathology are as important as the mental symptoms when they are more prominent in a case. Dreams denote the underlying subconscious thoughts, fears, insecurities, and anxieties of a person. Hence, even if the feelings are not expressed directly, the dreams show the path towards the emotional status and must be considered in the totality of symptoms. You are on the path towards achieving a total recovery when you see that the patient has become emotionally more stable and when the bad dreams have begun to reduce. At this point, even if the pathology does not initially show a change, do not think that you have chosen the wrong remedy. Wait and watch. There is a law of direction of cure, and this is how we must progress. Thank you everyone for watching this session. I hope that you have taken away a lot of learning and it will help you in some of your cases in your homeopathic practice. Thank you and take care.